Igor Orlov was considered to be one of the most outstanding spies of the Cold War era. His work for the NKVD and later the KGB shook the foundations of American intelligence agencies, changing the way that they operated. But who was Igor Orlov really? Was he the classic, apathetic, machine-like agent that people normally associate with the KGB? Or was he just like any other dad, with a bit more to hide?
He was somewhat quiet, somewhat reserved. He looked a lot like me in terms of body type and face and hair and eyes and whatnot. So I got most of my physical characteristics from him.
So I met George in probably around 1971 or 1972.
He was very private. He did not socialize much, didn't go out a great deal.
So most of the interactions I had with his father were very typical kinds of interactions that you might have with someone else's father as a friend. You know, he was very busy, so there wasn't much time to be talking with him, but very cordial, very good manners, always very respectful, very nice to me as a friend of George's.
Alexander Ivanovich Navratilov, known as Sasha, was born in Russia in 1918. By all accounts, he was a short, handsome man with piercing blue eyes. A distant but direct descendant of the Russian royal family, Sasha was recruited at a young age to the infamous Russian intelligence agency, the NKVD. The NKVD honed Sasha physically until he had the physique and skill of an expert gymnast, and put him through mock tortures designed to recreate the worst that he might endure during his dangerous mission. Most importantly, though, Sasha possessed an innate charm, a skill that could not be taught that would prove to be invaluable during his career as a spy. In October 1943, his years of training were put to the test. The cover name given him by the NKVD was the one that he would keep for the rest of his life, Igor Grigorievich Orlov. High above eastern Germany, Igor waited in the hold of a Russian cargo plane. At the pilot's signal, he launched himself out into the night and opened his chute. Immediately, he was targeted by German sharpshooters on the ground. Before he landed, he took bullets to both the thigh and the chest, and soon after landing, he passed out. Igor awoke in a German hospital for prisoners of war. He remained there for 6 months, both recovering and being interrogated by his captors. He told them that he was defecting, and finally he was cleared for induction into German intelligence. This was the beginning of his long, successful career as a master spy. Before leaving Russia, Sasha, now known as Igor, had memorized the names and backgrounds of several benign NKVD agents working undercover in the German armies. He was instructed to expose these agents as spies in order to build deep cover. Through this brutal strategy, he quickly climbed through the ranks of the German intelligence organizations until he was at the heart of their operations as a very effective double agent. Unbeknownst to Germany, Moscow was so pleased with Orlov's work that at the end of World War II he was promoted to lieutenant colonel. In the 1940s and 50s, the CIA was still in its infancy stages, bumbling along attempting to learn from its myriad of mistakes. During the aftermath of World War II, it moved some of its operations into Germany. This is how Igor came to work with them. Instead of returning to Russia, he took the new identity of Alexander Kopatsky. As Kopatsky, he began selling merchandise on the black market in order to be arrested by the US Army so that he might show some of his skill in intelligence and infiltrate the CIA. Things didn't work out quite that way, however, and the Americans discovered his true identity as Igor Orlov. Instead of expelling Igor from their ranks, as they should have done, they naively accepted him in the hopes of turning the expert spy. For years, Orlov systematically fed the Americans false information designed to make them as ineffective as possible in their struggle against communism, whilst managing to remain undetected as a Soviet mole. The CIA kept Orlov working in Munich, so it was fairly easy for him to communicate back and forth with his Russian allies. Igor carefully constructed dossiers on all of the American case officers with whom he came in contact. It was also during his stint in Munich that he met his wife-to-be, Eleanor Sterner. His operations in Germany were tremendously successful in the sense that he was able to avoid detection while distorting the US operations in that part of the world. After long years in Europe, Igor's CIA case officer decided that it was time to bring the Orlovs to the USA. After arriving on April 12, 1956, the CIA temporarily located Igor and Eleanor on a farm in Virginia, which came to feel like home. The CIA taught Igor their intelligence tricks, which was ironic because by this time he had been promoted a second time and was a full colonel in the KGB. Before much time had passed, the CIA moved the Orlovs to 3301 O Street in Washington, D.C. It was here that George, the second Orlov son, was born. Robert had been born in Germany in 1955. The Orlov family moved back and forth between Germany and America for the next 5 years before they fell on hard times. By this time, a rival of Igor's had risen to power in the CIA and assured that Igor lost standing with the organization. As a result, he was in America with little mastery of the English language, no citizenship, no job history, no family, and few friends. The CIA helped to enroll George and Robert in a good school, but did little else for the Orlov family. At first, Igor made money moving furniture and delivering newspapers, before settling into a small photo gallery in Alexandria, Virginia. Igor and his family lived above the gallery until Igor died of lung cancer in 1982.
I know there's lots of hubbub about all the things that he may have done or should have done or could have done, but none of that was apparent to us when we were at home.
To me, he was a friend of mine's father, and he was very, very nice to me, and I learned a lot just about different cultures through the fact that they were running a very different business and had lived a different life than we had.
You know, he cared very much for my brother and I, and gave us everything that he could give us, and then some. Made sure that we had a good education. Made sure that we stayed interested in school.
Igor Orlov is largely considered to be one of the most successful spies to participate in the Cold War, a monumental achievement considering the amount of subterfuge that occurred throughout the struggle. His legacy holds influence on how the CIA operates today, and his story is one of living the American dream. Igor's hard work and devotion to his family allowed them to grow and flourish and live a comfortable new life, safe from his dangerous past.